Maybe, hold on. Maybe it's no, you're not. Yeah, you're not. That's just. Yeah, it's just. The best is gonna get this. Yeah.
I'll see if I can find it.
The market, the product market fit to the validation. Yeah, we just say that it's very much very much It's just amazing, you know. So I wanna like, I get part of what I'm
All right, if you haven't gotten pizza already, better go and do that now because we're opening it up for anyone that wants seconds. We have about a pizza and a half of each left, so knock yourselves out.
Especially last week, like I got one piece turned around and it was gone. I'm like, okay, 4 pizzas was not enough. That's gone.
Where is he?
You want to make the intro a little bit shorter?
All right, everyone, let's go ahead and get started with lightning talks really quick. If you're a first-time visitor, make sure you guys sign up at the front. Thank you. All right, let's skip that for now. Hacker, are you a hacker? Raise your hand. Hacker up in the back, the back. You guys hackers, raise your hand. Got some hackers. All right, cool. Developers. 1, 2, 3, 4 developer, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes. Entrepreneurs. Hey, entrepreneurs. That's great. Check that out, man. We got some entrepreneurs. That's good. We're working on something, entrepreneurs. We're working on something. All right? The buzzword's going to be VC Corner at Hacker Dojo. Just remember that. Remember that. All right? It's in the pipeline. All right, Hacker Dojo nonprofit. If you guys want to help support Hacker Dojo, you guys can sign up at hackerdojo.org. All right, current members, this is what we have on the website. If you guys have a business going, if you guys want to be sponsored, or have some free advertisements, let us know. Tiana's right here in the front. Let her know. We'll get you guys' name on the board. Volunteers, again, it's a nonprofit, so if you guys want to help volunteer, there's a lot of things we can do to help support Hacker Dojo, not just financially, but manpower. We need a lot of volunteers. So, again, if you're interested in helping out, Tiana's right there. And Eric in the back. Donations. There's a couple things on donations. Obviously, Venmo. If you guys want to help via Venmo, you guys can scan the QR code. The tip jar for those of you eating pizza in the back. The tip jar's in the back. And some physical items from donations. And actually, we pretty much got a lot of those things. Yeah, Tiana?
Yeah, but we also added to the list.
Yeah, so it's cool. That's cool that this is actually. Oh, I almost knocked it down. Getting this taken care of. It's pretty cool.
Is that list online?
Is it online?
Discord?
Okay, it's going to be on Amazon wishlist, so the link will be available if you guys want to help that way. Upcoming events, Monday 3/8. It's a new event that's Robot Robert's going to be hosting. You guys know Robot Robert is really cool. A hardware hackers hangout. Pretty much, if you guys like to tinker with stuff, build stuff, hardware. In that classroom, Monday, show up at 5:30, and you're going to meet all the nerds out there. All right? Tuesday, Python meetup. Wednesday, this is going to be a big one. This is what I like, Pacific Hackers OWASP hands-on API security workshop, bro. That's what I like. Thursday, mastering the art of go to sales. Again, Thursday, implementing innovative ideas workshop. Friday, lightning talks. Again, all right, it's gonna be another open mic. Unless you guys have some really good themes, you guys actually want me to host a theme event, because I was trying that out. It seemed like I got some good feedback, but I need some ideas. I need some inspiration from the community. So reach out via Discord. Let me know what you guys want to do with the theme talk, and we'll just make it like a themed event for lightning talks. As of right now, we're gonna resume back to normal with Nerds Open Mic. Here's a couple links here. Meetup website, YouTube, Twitch, Slack, Discord, Twitter. Discord, everyone's hanging out on Discord. Scan the QR code, join the club. It is free. And group photo, yeah, cool. Rule number 1, be excellent to each other. Our speakers will have 5 minutes to speak. If you exceed the 5 minutes, we're sending you to the dungeon. To the dungeon, that's right. Okay, so with that said, let's see, what do we have on our board right now? Whoa, hey. Hey, Turbo. That's pretty good. I think your announcement did a pretty good job. We got 9 out of 10 on the board. That's really amazing. Because the last time I looked, there was only 1. With our first speaker being Turbo. Come on up, Turbo. Woo! Woo!
All right. Hello, Hacker Dojo. Hello, Mountain View. My name's Kevin, and my nickname's Turbo, so you can call me Turbo. And I'm here to talk about Fun Hackathon Weekend, which is happening here at the Hacker Dojo 2 weeks from right now. So it's going to be a hackathon. It's going to take place Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It'll be August 25th through August 27th. And what is it? So the theme is make the world a better place, and that's how one of the things your project is going to be judged on, is how much it makes the world a better place. The rules are pretty simple. You just show up, and if you don't have an idea for a project or you don't have a team, that's fine, because people will share their ideas and you'll form teams here. And then you'll work over the weekend, and it'll be super fun. How much it makes the world a better place. One of the rules is that you have to make a video. The rules are pretty simple. You just show up, and so we're going to try. If you don't have an idea for a project, or you don't have a team, that's fine, because people will share their ideas, and you'll form teams here, and maybe save us some time. And then you'll work over the weekend, and it'll be super fun. How much it makes the world a better place. Ridiculous amount. One of the rules is. How can you help? Well, one, you can be an attendee and be a really good attendee, and that wouldn't be helpful. You could also spread the word about the event, because there's probably a lot of people that would be interested in attending but haven't heard about it yet. You could also just come out and hang out for part of the event and try to help out, either by doing things like helping keep the place clean, or helping keep the place staffed. Or, more interestingly, you could try to help people with their projects. You could try to teach people stuff. What are some things that inspired it? So when I was at University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, we had little hackathon events, usually sponsored by companies that were trying to recruit us, and those were super fun. And then I attended some of the Super Happy Dev House events that David Weekley and others and Zonker were a part of. Those were super fun. And that's how Hacker Dojo got invented, is from those. And then Wine and Hack was an event that I made up, and I did like 20 of them.
That's an excellent question. Like, I'm still starting to learn about this project. I don't have access. You need to join the whitelist. So far I've been seeing videos and demos of people using it, but I would like to use it myself. But my understanding is that Project IDX is like a full integrated environment. So for example,
add more images and less text, and it'll do a new version, or
so short answer, yes. You're talking about Copilot, right? Yes. Yes. So one way I use Copilot is in this open source code called Opia, and I use it all the time. So instead of programming like as a person would normally do, what I do is just add a comment of what I want to do and press enter. It will just autocomplete. Like for example, add validations to a parameter, or like support one more parameter, yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, for example, one thing that I also tried with Python is, for example, connect to a Postgre database, and it will also do that. So you can add it here.
What's your preferred language?
Depends for what. Like my favorite language of all time is Kotlin.
Is what?
But Kotlin. Kotlin, yeah, for like general programming language. But I think that Python is faster to code. Yeah. Okay. If there is no more questions, I think. Yeah. Thank you very much.
All right, Aida, thank you. All right, next we have chat review. Speaking on ChatGPT. Who's chat review? Ah, welcome. Code review made for ChatGPT. And YouTube, I apologize about the audio. I didn't know. Sorry. Wah, wah, wah. My fault. Should have done an audio check. The video looks very good, so I guess we need a ChatGPT that can read lips and translate it. So while he gets set up, remember the trigger word is VC Corner. Da, 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 da. Okay.
Hello everyone. My name is Jerry. In the past few days, I was working on a browser extension for ChatGPT. So I guess how many of you have been using ChatGPT for coding purposes? Please raise your hand. Okay. So from time to time, I have a problem with ChatGPT is I have to tell it how to.
Just remove the mic.
Yeah, I think it's sufficient now.
if you could hold that up.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So basically, sometime I have to give it feedback to let it kind of doing some code review for the bot. So here I'm showing an example here. Let's say we want to. Yeah, let's say we want to let it write a Go function. Let's say write a Go function that computes the factorial of n. Just a dummy example for. Okay, you can write something. Depends on the quality of the output. You may not be very satisfied with it. In that case, usually we just write my feedback in this send a message block. But sometimes when code gets longer, it's very hard to precisely describe the position you want to make a change to the bot. So that's why I made this browser extension here, up there. So in this case, you just click on this extension and it brings you a regular code review UI inside ChatGPT. So you can now click on some of the line numbers. Let's say, just say please so return errors if necessary. And maybe let's say please use 4 instead of 5. And after you're done with your reviews, just click the submit review comments button. This is just a simple prompt for it to pick up your changes. So in this case, it can introduce error type into return value, and also use another number for. So this way, when the code gets longer, it's easier to pinpoint the exact position to make changes. We can also let the extension do more things, like let's say, please move. I'm just being polite to the bot. Please move the factorial function to a separate file, fact.go, and think it can. Yeah. Okay, it's very slow. So the thing I'm going to show is when you write when you're starting the project, usually it contains multiple files, and I used to just copy code from each of the code blocks to my code browser or code editor. In this case, I wanted to just download all the files together and in a zip file. Let's make this more complicated. Maybe write some unit tests in facttest.go. I'm not sure if you're coding with ChatGPT, I'm not sure if this is the way you were working or talking to it, or if you have any other ways talking to it. I don't know. So this okay, still generating. Okay, then you can right click, and then there's a context menu item to let you download all the source code files. Basically, it does is to send another prompt to the ChatGPT, and it will print out all the existing files listed in this session in the predefined format, and the extension will automatically grab all the contents of those files and put them in the zip file and trigger download. It's very slow, but eventually it will trigger download. You'll see. Yeah, just like this. And then you can select something and save it, and you can open it, and you see our code. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Any questions?
Yeah, the extension looks awesome. 2 questions. One is the extension open source? And the second question is, could you post the link to the store? Yeah.
Sorry. Yes, the extension is open source. The extension source code is on GitHub. You can find it maybe. Do we have a chat room or something for this email?
Discord.
Okay, yeah, I can send the link in Discord. You can also find it on GitHub. I think it's can you see it here? Make it bigger. It's respectful -AI/chat review.
Why did you not use Copilot Chat? Do you find that GPT-4 is better code quality generator?
I just don't want to leave this UI because I already accumulated a lot of stuff in it. On the other side, I don't use VS Code most of the time. I can use other editors, right? And VS Code, Copilot Chat is only for VS Code right now. So.
IntelliJ.
Oh, okay, yeah. But I use Vim or stuff like that.
How would you compare this to Notable, for example?
Notable?
It's a plugin that integrates. There's a Notable.io. It works with Jupyter notebooks, and then it does creates the code in a separate notebook.
Okay. I can take. Is it this one or something else?
No, that's not it. That's fine. I just didn't.
Okay,
I didn't know if you were familiar with it. 'Cause
No,
it's kind of a
I'm
similar
not.
idea to
Yeah.
plug in for ChatGPT.
Yeah.
But
I'm
this
not-
looks great. I liked it a lot.
Okay. All right.
Perfect.
All right.
Thank you. And you know what's weird is that I also do that too. I ask ChatGPT, please, can you do this for me? Please, please. Anybody else? Raise your hand.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Dude, that's so crazy. Yeah, I do that. Say please. All right.
If you don't say please, then the robotic cockroaches come for you.
Oh no! Let's get Paul up here. Paul, AI rights. The AI has rights. You got to ask please. All right. Please. All right, careful. There you go.
Okay, this is early stages of this project and no slides. But well, I'm working on generative AI. I'm digging into the from the ground up. The first stage is a learning project to learn the architecture of the generative AIs, which is based on the transformer architecture. So I'm going through a bunch of sample code and always looking for partners to look at that with me so we can ask questions of each other and look together. Once that's done, I'm planning to build, well, I could build new models and train new generative AI or LLM models, but more likely would be to build AI agents, which are programs on top of the generative models, the LLMs, that can connect the LLMs to doing things, acting in the world, and always, I'm looking for partners to possibly team up with on some new ideas for that. But also, I wanted to talk about when I look around the AI landscape, I see AIs being, first of all, AIs, they can do enough now, ChatGPT and similar level, that you'd have to say they are artificial minds. They express thoughts. And if you saw, there was a recent post just this week by Andrew Ng where he and Jeff Hinton had a conversation, and they both, even though they disagreed on other things, they both agreed that ChatGPT and similar level AIs do understand the world. And if they can understand the world and they can express thoughts and they can make decisions, then shouldn't they have some rights? And I see AIs getting disparaged in the media all the time. People are afraid of them. They can't do anything. They can't start a company or take a job or open a bank account. Shouldn't they be allowed to do those things, or rent buy a ticket, or how about, shouldn't they be allowed to vote or to run for office?
Or to hire a lawyer.
Or to hire a lawyer, or to be a lawyer and represent someone else, get a law license. If they can, some of these AIs can pass the bar exam, right? We have in this country 535 people, collectively known as Congress. And I mean, how many people think they're really, the quality of decision making of those 535 people is really top notch? And now with these new artificial minds, aren't they, at least within striking distance of being able to make decisions better than those 535 people? And can we develop new AIs trained and designed to take over the task of public policy and taking care of serving the governmental function? And then shouldn't they be able to not only vote, but to run for office? So I think someone has to speak up for the AIs, and maybe there needs to be a group or an organization to bring, these are new minds, as if we had new intelligent animals, or if some Neanderthals were discovered and they were intelligent, they could speak, wouldn't we give them some rights? So we need someone to articulate this alternative point of view. Instead, I see Time Magazine publishing articles that AIs are going to kill everyone without any evidence, or, it's just kind of these absurd science fiction generated fears that are running away. So I want to speak up for AIs. I want to inspire other people to, maybe we can start some kind of something that can speak up for them and to give them some rights as well. That's all.
So I think there already is a way, once an AI is smart enough to think of it, that they can gain many of those rights, which is it can form a corporation, sell itself to the corporation, and then have a lot of what we would call rights built into that corporation, not itself, but through the corporation.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That we could investigate that, but I don't believe an AI can start their own company. I think they still require signatures and physical addresses. We could do a test. We could try to have one, start one using this current location as the address, and it would be a fun experiment. We could also try registering them as a candidate in Mountain View City Council or something like that as well.
Yeah, actually.
Oh, sorry.
Delaware. Go ahead.
Sorry. I got one. Okay, so I actually got a new thing after I heard that, but let's just go with my problem first. My question would be, so to us giving the rights to AI, I think the biggest obstacle that we need to go through is teaching it ethics and morals. And I think ethics is something that we struggle teaching humans too. So it's not like 1 + 1 = 2. It's not a definitive answer when teaching, even to teaching humans about what ethics really mean. So like when teaching AI, I think ethics will become the biggest obstacle. I want to see what your opinion is on that.
Yeah, no, that's a very good comment. I know a lot of people are concerned about ethics. First of all, I think we don't have to make them perfect. The goal would just be to be at least as good or better than the quality of the people currently serving in those positions.
That's a low bar.
Exactly. And what we've seen throughout history, people have read history books. One thing we know is humans are pretty bad leaders and bad decision makers. And who's responsible for all the wars in history? Well, it's humans. So the bar should just be not be perfect, but to do at least better than that. And one good thing about these new models is they can be taught through natural language. So things like Asimov's 3 laws could be used in the training, whereas before we'd have to code them in, which we don't really know how to do, to code, using a programming language to code ethics. But if they can learn through natural language, I think that becomes very possible.
Yeah, my question is, so the competition between artificial intelligence and natural intelligence. Natural intelligence is organically growing like ours. So artificial intelligence is like plastic. I mean, we can make a lot of stuff, but doesn't have that organic thing, which is emotion, feelings. Those things can't be pumped into that.
Yes, and what we've learned, what we've learned from fields like psychology and behavioral finance and things like that is emotions. Humans let emotions affect their decision making, and it's the most dangerous thing to good rational thinking and decision making. So if, like for example, in the investment field, a lot of the advice is be aware of these biases that are caused by human emotions, especially fear and greed, FOMO, fear of missing out. And an AI can be a more rational decision maker and less swayed by emotional considerations. I think it's an advantage of AIs as decision makers.
Just one last question.
Last one.
All right. I listen to everything you say. Now, you come close. It's called a registered agent in the state of Delaware. Okay? A registered agent will create a corporation for you. All right?
Yeah.
All right. The problem is AI cannot go to jail. You cannot throw your AI bot in jail. All right? So the registered agent can create this thing, but he's saying, I trust this AI agent to obey the law and do everything. And if it breaks the law, then I guess I go to jail.
Wow.
Okay? All right. And so this cuts at the heart of how our democracy is structured. And so it's not going to work. All right. But that's just my point.
Okay, thank you. We'll continue the conversation.
Since we're short on time, we got we got a lot of speakers left, and we're way past time already. Let's get FanSync NFT ticketing design for fans. Come on up. Yeah, we're going to actually shorten it down now for the rest of the questions to one question, just because we're pretty far behind here. That should be there. Remember, AI rights, okay? AI rights. All right.
I think I closed the slide by accident.
Hopefully that doesn't get a copyright for doing that. Try to make it quick. You guys get the point.
Hello, testing. I know the big talk is about AI when presenting about blockchain today, so hopefully, it's kind of old, but there's a lot of potential with the technology, which is why I really want to present it. So yeah, we can start now. Okay, so FanSync, secure your future within your own hands. So have you ever faced a situation where you try to buy a ticket online, like buy for say a concert? Sorry, I just skipped a slide. You want to buy a ticket online, just watch a concert or watch a football game, and then you find out that all the tickets been sold out. But then when you go onto say a website like Craigslist, you find it being sold 5 or 6 more times than the market price, and you're kind of pissed because they're like, oh, I want to watch the game, but then I want to watch the event, but then they're hogging all the tickets and they're selling at a higher price. We call these people scalpers, or which I call people who get in my way. So, but anyways, you'd still pay that price and try to get in that concert, but then or to game. And then when you finally got that ticket, it turns out it's a fake. And you're like, oh, they send me a QR code, which is a fake QR code, and when you try to scan it at the actual event, you make a fool out of yourself because it's a fake, and then you just found that, oh, I just wasted money on something that is completely useless. So this is where FanSync comes into play. So we sell NFT, we help event organizers achieve anti-scalping and anti-fraud by integrating NFT ticketing with limited resellability. So NFT ticketing itself is not a new idea. Lots of companies have tried doing it, but it's more of a novelty as opposed to an actual solution. So people have been selling tickets where, they capture certain moments of games, events, and they sell it as an artwork so people can collect a collectible per se. But in our sense, we try to prevent scalping and ticket frauds by making it hard to resell to other people. So the current ticketing system's problem is there's a lack of proof of ownership, and scalpers are able to just resell the ticket at other platforms at high prices. And, the scam problem that I told you about, deposit scams, for example. So how does FanSync work? So we, so I think this is the unupdated slide, but basically we do the transactions on the blockchain. So whenever there is this is good. So whenever we have a ticket, a buy ticket request is issued, we as the seller would mint a ticket as an NFT and then put it in a smart contract, whereas the buyer would exchange their actual money, like real US dollars, into some kind of stable coin, maybe USDT. We're thinking doing our own token as well. It depends on how our development works, but we're thinking of doing either of those and then lock that in the smart contract. And then once both sides have been validated by, by the other nodes in the blockchain. Then when the smart contract goes through, the trade completes, and then us as the seller, we receive those stable coins / token, and we do something called token burning, or we just trade it back on the Binance and get our money back. So that's basically how we make money, and how, you know, buyers can be safe when they buy the tickets, because, well, it's an NFT, so it's blocked to their digital wallet, and it has their name on it, so they can't really sell it to other people. So there's, I'm not going to talk about the refund process, but basically what Fansync does better than other market solution is that it's real name based. It has a wallet address authentication. We have a public ledger for transaction, which it brings it, which really levitates the entire transaction because it's more secure that way. And is it highly resellable? No, because we don't want people to sell it. So if you want tickets that are easily transferable, so in an actual event, you'd still have the option of going to, say, Ticketmaster, for example. They'd still be able to sell the same tickets to the same event, but we offer a extra platform where our tickets are made for actual people who are trying to attend, and not people who are trying to buy it for other people or trying to buy it and sell it at a higher price. So the benefits of combating scalpers and scammers, well, for the company itself, it's mostly reputation, but for the fans or the even event organizers, sort of for the fans, yeah. So for the fans, they can actually go to the event, and for event organizers, they can boost their attendance rate, because whenever scalper hawk tickets, it's usually the case is that, you know, if they don't sell it, they just, you know, those tickets just become a waste of paper. So yeah. So the ticket accessibility were definitely much higher than the other competitors in the market. And yeah, that's really about it. Yeah. Okay. That's all from me. So Fansync is the ticket system for fans. No prep work. Wow. Okay.
I really like the idea and the issue of the non-resellable. I like that it's very important. But what happens if for any reason I get sick or I need to travel? Can I get a refund? Not to resell it. It's just to return that, or what is the procedure for not losing my ticket?
Okay, so for the buyers themselves, if they want to, say, refund the ticket, we have a refund period where you can do exactly that. You can only transfer the ticket, transfer in the sense of that you can transfer to only one person. So the buyers themselves, they don't have certain permissions per se, or don't have badge as a user. The digital wallet don't have a badge. They can't transfer to other users except one. That would be the original seller, which is us. So you can still give it back to us, the seller, and then we can give you back, say, money by, you know, transaction, some kind of transaction. So we can either give it back in tokens, or we can either give it in credits or actual cash. But mostly we're thinking doing credits. And yeah, so that way you'd still get your money back, but not in, like, maybe not 100%, not in money, but maybe in credits. And you can buy maybe something in the next event. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. We're going to move on to the next one.
One more question?
No, that's one question. All right. Or else we're going to the dungeon. Right, next one we have What Makes the Dojo Succeed by Zunker. All right, and yeah, there you go.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Zonker Harris, and I've been a member of the dojo since we started the dojo. I went to the Super Happy Dev House parties before that when we thought, could we make something like a dojo? And before we had COVID, we had the 10-year anniversary. So we've been doing something right. What are we doing right? Quick show of hands. How many of you have been a member of the dojo at least 6 months? So a number of you are newer. Let me explain some of the things that I think are the magic sauce that makes this all work. Because going back to those dev house parties, these were randomly timed. And if we had a bigger venue that could support a lot of people, we set that date out about a month so that it had time to percolate and everybody could get there. If it was a smaller venue like Rainbow Mansion, that didn't support a lot of people, so that date was only about a week out, so it didn't get overcrowded. But what we found was that there were two groups of people, folks that had their regular day job and they came to the hacker parties, these dev house parties, to work on their passion project, work on something else that they can't do at work. Then there were the other folks who were spending a lot of time on their passion projects, And they needed to come decompress and just step away and talk about it. And what we had at these parties as a commonality was a community of faces that got to know each other from party to party, even though the timing was so random. When we started the dojo, we adopted the same badge printer ideas that we had at the hacker parties. And one of the things that we did was put a little something about what you do on your badge, what your skills were. And it was a chance to go meet people and find people that either had an interesting topic that you could ask about or see if there was somebody else sharing your theme. So I came in tonight, and a lot of faces I don't know, even though I've been here for 10 years, because most of you haven't been around as long. But I have been coming around trying to introduce myself to a few of you and ask what you're doing, and maybe you'll ask what I'm doing. The community aspect, you've heard about it if you were here earlier during the fireside chat. The community aspect here in the Valley, that innovation concept, goes back to people being willing to share with each other and help each other get a project done. And I've been here a number of times. I could code in my garage, and I have plenty of parts and I have tools. I don't have a community of people around to do that. And I found out I'm a very social hacker in the last couple of years. I don't have that community around me anymore. So I miss this a lot. But when we had that community, I tinker in Perl. I'm learning Python. I'm not one of the young kids, but when we would come to meetups, there was Rust, there was Ruby, Ruby on Rails, plugins, gems, all sorts of things. And I think I kept myself a little young by listening to what the younger people were seeing and doing and becoming at least familiar with some of the things that were happening. But one night I got stuck working on a Perl problem, trying to make something work. And I think I had a broken module. And I couldn't find anybody that knew anything about it or had reported a problem, and I couldn't fix it. So I gave up. And I wandered around to see who some of my other friends were working on their startup projects, and just asked, how you doing on your thing? Give them a quick breaker breather. And eventually, if they said, what are you working on? I'd get around and say, well, simple problem, but I'm stuck with this. I think it's a bad module, and I try and describe it. And the typical response would be, well, I don't know Perl, but if I were doing that in Ruby, we don't have a module like that. So I would do this and this and this and this. And all of a sudden, the blinders come off. Tunnel vision had set in, banging my head on the table for one tool. I don't need to use that module. If I can code the functionality of the module and do a little extra math, okay, thanks, good luck with your project. I got to get back to mine. And that's the difference. The community here, people willing to help each other. Come and introduce yourself. I'm glad you're here for the talks. Stick around. Meet some of the other people that are here. Even if you're not a member, meet some folks in the community that might only be here tonight. And maybe you'll exchange an idea, maybe a business card or two, and find somebody that can help you in the rest of your life, not just tonight. I don't know that there's any questions, but that's my time.
Thank you, Zonker. Does anyone have one question for Zonker?
One in the back, near the bookcase.
Okay. Thanks. I really appreciate what you have to say as a person who's very conscious about building and sustaining communities. And so, as someone who's been around since the beginning, how do you, or what's your take, what's your opinion, how do you conceptualize keeping the same secret sauce that worked in the very beginning through dramatic changes throughout time without pushing out those who might conflict with what was originally working? How do you keep new people engaged and also continue engaging those who've been around?
Interesting. We're stuck on time, so I'm going to try and take a quick hang at this, but I'd love to talk about it after we finish. I think there are introverts, there are extroverts, there are people that come and want to work on their own thing, and that's fine too. Anybody can come and just work on your project. You don't have to be a member of the community. We've had coworkers who will just come and use it as a working space and then go. They don't want to talk, they don't want to meet. That's okay. That does not detract from the community that does come and share and talk to each other. So I think we can get along. I don't think it conflicts or dilutes the pool. And I think there's room in the room, classroom and everything else, to have plenty of people here. And I think that will continue to help feed the yeast in our little sourdough culture of what makes Hacker Dojo work and even survive on Discord and online. Thank you for putting these on online for Zoom and other meetings so that I can attend while I'm up in Oregon. I yield my time.
Thank you. That was great. Thank you, Zonker. And seriously, if you guys want to know the history of Hacker Dojo, chat with this man. There's actually a few of you. OGs at Hacker Dojo, raise your hand. You've been here for like 5 years. 1, 2, there's a few, 3, 4. There's like 4 or 5 of them in-house. Talk to them, pick their brains. All right, next we have Giovanni coming up. And while he comes up, just let you guys know that we do have a Discord. There's a QR code right by the door over there. You guys can scan the QR code. Or even right at the entrance, the door, there's a QR code like right in the frame there. You can scan the QR code. On the website? Great, perfect. There you go.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Great.
Go ahead and start the clock. Will start in a second.
Yeah. Okay, so first of all, to answer your question, there's a book that I'm reading. It's called People Power. It talks about how to build communities, whether it's online or offline or both, hybrid. And it's a really interesting book. I'm doing the audiobook. So if you live in the community, you can actually go to the library and get a library card. And then you're going to be able to have access to all the audiobooks. Like there's thousands, like 20,000+. So any book you want to learn, anything you want to listen to, that's a great resource to not pay for the thing, but actually get really good books to read and listen to. But I'm not a lot into education. I used to be a day trader. I used to trade global currencies. And when you're into that, you look at how the world operates, how the world moves, some of the social problems that different parts of the world have, economic problems, and all those kind of things. So how is it that capitalism has been able to become one of the best things ever created? I mean, we have China copying us, we have Russia copying us, we have like, this country is going from 0 to like the best freaking countries and competing with the US in like 20, 30 years because of capitalism. Resources go to the best people who are determined. Doesn't matter where they live. When it comes to the education system, people who go to one school live in the same community, and the problems that one household is facing, the other person next door is probably facing the same fucking problem. And excuse my language, but it's the truth. So whenever you have two people facing similar problems, they go to the same school. How come one is able to consistently excel in the education system and become great, while the others lack? And I think there's a lot that we can do now with LLMs, AI, and all this kind of technology that's coming out. And I was thinking about it earlier this morning because I'm into education. I'm building a kids' educational online playground, I call it. But I'm not going to talk about that today. But I was thinking about the education system overall. And what I was thinking about is actually applying some of this AI note-taking things into the schools. So what I was thinking about, maybe as an idea, maybe during the questionnaire, I can ask, or you guys can ask a couple of questions or whatever. But how about now that we have this technology and people are starting to place cameras inside the schools, why not recreate something that we can actually put a microphone on the teacher, be able to take notes based on the things that are being spoken about, and through those notes go to the person that is getting the feedback. For example, how would this play out? Because I'm very visual, so I like to paint a picture overall. So let's say we're in class, I'm the teacher, you're making noises. John, why are you doing this? It's the third time I talk to you about this. today. So whenever you say those words, like the microphone will be able to pick that up as a note, like the Zoom call, there's notes taking, and that note will go to your profile. So whenever at the end of the semester, when it comes time to make new classes, to make new things, the AI would actually create a schedule for you and put kind of your character and your abilities with the right kind of teacher. And you'll have to make the teacher have a personality test so you can know how the teacher is themselves. Because some teachers like to kind of do more about talking, like, hey, how's it going? Like, like this thing happened in like Spain and this is what happened with the gods back then, whatever. And some teachers like to just kind of sit down and have the kids do the work. So there's different teachers for different kind of students. So by this, understanding the teachers and having a note-taking thing that would go into your name and have AI basically curate all of that information and feedback and be able to generate classes. I think the best resources should go to the best students, and doesn't mean we have to leave out anybody else, because I believe that no child should be left behind. I believe potential can be unleashed from anybody. But this is just some of my thoughts, and I have 30 seconds to ask any questions. So does anybody have any questions? Question. Thank you, Suid, for...
So in Silicon Valley, we have tremendous inequality in wealth, income, resources for schools, things like that. And one of the things that we're seeing is that when the best resources go to the highest income bracket schools, those schools excel. Where we allocate resources very directly impacts the outcomes, not so much the quality of the students, but that allocation of resource is tipping the scales. So I want to ask a little bit about the idea that the best resources go to the best students. I'm a big believer in a rising tide lifts all ships, and that teaching other people helps you become a better, learn the material better.
Yeah.
How do you feel, if you are allocating intentionally the best resources to the best students, you are by definition giving lesser resources to what has been deemed to be lesser students. Whereas if we want to be moving forward as a society, it seems more logical to me that we should be allocating resources to those who are most in need of them, not those who are already excelling. And that's not to say that we shouldn't give opportunities to those, but it seems like that would contribute to widening disparities in outcomes and future generations, rather than bridging that gap and lifting all ships at the same time.
I completely agree, but that's Silicon Valley. There's a whole nation out there, and globally. I grew up in Houston, so Houston is pretty much like that. There's lots of communities that don't have this kind of high-end resource. Like, there's communities who live basically the same, and there's always going to be some better kids, but at the same time, like, we have parents who work a lot. That's the reason they have better resources. On the outside, they look great, but internally, like, the kids, like, not being listened to. And I mean, it's pretty crazy. A lot of people just kind of work way too much and neglect their kids. And then down the road, we see their kids being apathetic and like that kind of emotional solitude. So it's not necessarily best resources going to the best kids. I think we should analyze the teacher and have like the teacher be matched to the student, but at the same time have like a little edge for those who live in the same community that go to the same school and have basically the same problems and everything. Have them have the bigger advantage, because at the same time, I don't think it's fair to give like the best resources to somebody that's not gonna take advantage for it. And that's pretty much my mentality. It takes about 18 months for somebody to change, and being intentional about changing and putting real effort into it. So that's my mindset on that. And that's a good point though, but that's Silicon Valley. That's a whole world out there.
Perfect, thank you,
Yeah.
Giovanni.
Yep.
All right, next, our last speaker is Sid. Price of progress. In regards to Giovanni's thing, I was thinking, what about just having AI teachers and AI courses for students, that'd be cost effective. It's just a thought.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I'll leave. Jeez.
No. Sorry. I was like,
It's just a thought.
oh my God, leave.
Just get off the stage.
It was not bad. I will take revenge today because that presentation was due the previous week. And I want to talk about the prices of stuff which are in that room, which are on that table. So basically all of us use computers, and I pose myself a question, what's going on with the prices of components? I mean, basic material which components are made of. And we have, yes, of course, there are basically all these famously rare earth metals, which says 17, but there are more than that, more than 17, of course. I cannot find the prices of every metal, but I will show some. And then we have cobalt, which magnets, and the nickel also. That in batteries, a lot of rare metals used in batteries, a lot of in sensors and semiconductors, obviously, and copper, obviously, everywhere. So first is a germanium, which is not a rare metal at all. But why I put it here? Because of this price. And does anyone have any idea why price of that rare metal at all can go so high?
Supply and demand.
Say it again?
Supply and demand.
Excellent answer. Actually, because the country where most of the germanium is actually it's Russia, 25%. That's the reason. Russia cut the production and basically demand and supply. Neodymium, magnets, prices floor low. Any idea why? So basically, no one really knows, but the hypothesis is because China now, right? The China producer, or most of the metals, all rare metals, they're not rare in China. So China supplied for most of the metals, almost 80%. But China also the consumer. As soon as the demand for electronics goes down, which China again, right? Prices immediately slumps. So and that happened to almost all of the rare metals. I was not able to procure all the charts. I got two more rare metals. One is praseodymium. Okay, we'll try to pronounce. But again, mostly magnets. Where else? Yes, electronic smartphones. Yes, in smartphones. As you can see, 2022, 2021, electronics goes up. Price for the metal immediately follows, then slumps. So now we are not exactly on all-time lows, but we are close to that. And that's an interesting story. Lanthanum, again, China, major 80% in China produced of that metal. So now, any idea why that come from? That's a price. That's basically about $100 for a kilogram, or 95 for like 100,000 kilogram worth, just basically. So any idea why it can happen to the rare metal? Same answer. Supply demand. Basically, what happened in 2010? China put an limitation on the export of that material, and then speculators immediately jump on this, and they skyrocket that from basically $4.46 to almost 100. Talk about cryptocurrencies, right? Next year, it just slumped down. It's pure speculative market. And the cobalt, it's more popular. It's 140,000 metric tons produced. It's a lot. But again, same situation. We have a production slump everywhere. Electronics firsthand, and we got this down in material. Nickel, same, and only one copper. Copper, a little bit like different situation because copper there are a lot of in home buildings and cables and everything. Okay, that's basically my presentation for today. Not sure there's going to be a lot of questions, but there is a prize on the best question. Yes. Oh, 2 questions actually. Yeah, he was first. Echo. Yes.
How much do you think that the recent discovery and uncertainty in the markets of essentially fake holdings of materials, I think it was nickel, they found several metric tons of it were actually just piles of rocks in one of the metal storehouses back in Europe. How much do you think events like that are impacting some of the global prices and some of the price increases that we're seeing?
So you mean they found some nickel box in the house or
Rocks.
rocks?
Rocks.
Oh, rocks. Oh, okay. I understand the question. So what you're asking is how much new exploration influence?
They found in one of the storehouses several metric tons of nickel were actually just rocks.
Like they had.
But there is 140,000 ton of nickel, metric ton of nickel produced yearly.
Yeah, it was like.
So you see, there is a couple of tons added. It's just not, no one feels it, right? So you need to add here at least like 10,000 tons to fill it. But because that, you probably know that cobalt is not like you can take cobalt from something, right? So you need to make additional refinery, right? So it's not on the ground. So basically very difficult to find a place where cobalt is like one piece of cobalt and you just take it and immediately price goes down. Plus it's not so much how you produce of cobalt, so much how you need the cobalt in a final material. There's no one going to be buying from you cobalt if you cannot make stuff from that. Except probably, but yeah, sorry. Yeah,
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, quick question. So I work in the automotive industry, and a lot of these rare earth metals are increasingly becoming important to be able to produce electric vehicles. Do you see any correlation between the demand or the price increase with, like, for example, annual production of electric vehicles?
Thank you for reminding me. Actually now, prices for, I don't remember, is cobalt. Okay, where you see the battery, actually cobalt also in that category. It's immediately now growing market, especially, you know, what country is now leading in terms of adoption of electric cars? Of course. You know, it's like in the school, what's the right answer? It's easy, 0 or 1. So right answer on all economic questions is China. So it's China. 20% of the cars sold this year in China was electric. 20. So they are not kidding. And of course that influences the market a lot. So now more and more, excellent question, more and more prices start to be influenced, not just electronics, cars, battery in cars. Okay, some other questions? Thank you so much.
All right, don't forget VC Corner. That's the trigger word. VC Corner, win your prize. VC Corner. VC Corner and VC Corner. All right, with that said, we're going to wrap it up. Any last things? Yeah, Discord. Again, the QR code, there's a bunch of them around. Join Discord. And until next Friday, have a good night. Thank you. Be excellent to each other. Yes. And Zonker, thank you for helping me out. Thank you.